So, where are you from originally?
I'm South African.
South African. And do you, do you have solar at your home?
Yes, we do. My house is off grid.
Okay, you are off grid. Ah,
Yes.
wow. Okay, okay,
We were forced.
okay.
Should I be clicking on something or are we just going to jump in?
No, I think you're okay. We are just waiting for the fourth guy. So,
Maybe I'll turn off my video.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sakshi. Welcome to of Solar Quarter Meeting and first view of new Solar conference. Hope you all had a great networking with your peers. Hi, am I audible to everyone? Hi, am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Sakshi, welcoming you all on behalf of Solar Week 2022 conference. Hope you all had a great time networking with your peers today. I take the pleasure to thank our partner Clenergy for extending their immense support to organize this event. Um, Today, if we ask what is the market outlook for the retail electricity and open access market, and what is driven by the country's CNI captive consumers, to discuss this and many other concerns for secure future in the Middle East region and to initiate a dialogue about the technology trends, we have a proficient panel for the first day of UAE Solar Week.
Hello, everyone. So, without any further delay, I'll be announcing to Mr. Samir Jacob for his presentation.
Thank you, the team from Solar Quarter and First View. Appreciate you guys making the time there for Clenergy to present. My name is Samir Jacob. I look after marketing for Clenergy globally, coming up from direct from Melbourne, Australia. Without further ado, I'll get right into it. So, in terms of Clenergy, our main mission as a company, we recognize that various governments, public sector enterprises, and all have their targets for carbon neutrality, whether it's 2040, 2050. And our mission is, regardless of whatever products we have within our portfolios, it's to help all these enterprises reach those goals. So whether it's solar mounting gear, energy storage products, portable power, cable trays, everything is we design it in a way that's helping these entities reach that carbon neutrality. In terms of us as a business, we've just celebrated our 15-year anniversary this year. We're publicly listed with manufacturing facilities across Australia, China, and Indonesia. We've done about 15 gigawatts worldwide, number one brand for solar mounting in Australia, top 5 across China and Asia Pacific. And primarily today, we are within the solar and cable management sector in terms of manufacturing and distribution. In terms of our footprint globally, we dominate within APAC and Oceania, with actually this year where we have actively gone to expand our business across the Middle East, parts of Africa, and primarily Europe. With the offices there, and also activated a large number of new distributors. And this can only be done with the backing of a really, really massive team. The ones that you're looking at there is based out of Australia, based out of China, and also a large team there based out of Japan. In terms of our product lines, the two of which I will be explaining today primarily is PV Easy Rack, which is our solar mounting gear, and then we have a Runner, which is our cable tray brand. In terms of today, we're talking about primarily the Rooftop products, and I'll go more detail into that. But just from a high level, we have about 4 to 5 main categories. That is Solar Roof, which is by the name in terms of a roof mount gear. Solar Terrace, which is our ground mount solutions. Easy Tracker, as the name suggests, is our tracker solution. And then we have Clenergy Hollywood, which is our all black finish roof mount, I'd say more a premium residential product. And then we've got ground structures when it comes to carports and post mounts. So looking at roofing structures, whether we're looking at tin or metal roofs, or we're looking at tile roofs or flat roofs, we've got solutions for the lot. When looking at the commercial rooftop space, typically it's going to be whether it's a penetrative or non-penetrative situation. And for situations like that, this is an example where it's a non-penetrative roof, where you're using the use of clip lock clamps to fasten your solar panels to that said roof. Give you an example for one of them here.
So the process of setting up for the installation here at Lexus, we were able to engage the tech team from Clenergy to ensure that exactly what we were putting on the roof met with the standards of all of our Clenergy gear. The decision for what mounting system we were going to use here at Lexus was a really easy one. We stuck with our tried and true Clenergy PV Easy Rack flush mount for this particular roof installation. We were also super excited to use Clenergy's brand new to the industry runner gear for our cable management. We chose the runner gear for the longevity of the cable management. The runner gear is a MAC product which will sustain itself throughout the lifetime of the solar system.
Cool. In terms of roof mount, when you're looking at very low pitch roofs, we've got a variety of solutions for that. Whether you're looking at adjustable tilts there on the left, which has a bandwidth between 5 to 25 degrees, or if you're looking at our tripods, which is basically a pre-assembled kit that makes it a lot easier to install, where you can do single, even dual panels in landscape. And then we also have commercial tilt 2.0, which is penetrative or non-penetrative. It comes in a couple of variations of 5 and 10 and 15 degrees, which seems to be very, very popular within the C&I space. We also do have solutions for concrete roofs. That is our ballast systems, and so that's another option there for you if that's something that you're looking at. When it comes to non-penetrative roofs or metal roofs, typically what you're looking for is the exact types of clip lock clamps that fit to your profiles. Now on the far left, we've got clamps like what you're looking at there, and we've got a variety of different clamps that fit various roof profiles. But we also have our universal clip lock clamp, which is the one in the middle, which I think almost affixes itself to approximately 15 or maybe 17 different types of roof brand or roof profiles out there. And if you're looking at penetrative solutions, that's our L-foot on the far right. A couple of examples there of other variety of clamps depending on the roof profiles, but this is just a few examples. Once you jump onto our website and have a look at our full catalog, you'll see the variety that's available to you. In terms of I mean, this is not really applicable for this situation because this is merely a residential product, but I'll just quickly skim through this one. If you, provided that most panel manufacturers are going with all black frames, black backing sheets, the last thing that you want to do is to have silver mid clamps and a silver rail, where you can actually have the option of getting a full premium black finish with black rails and black mid and end clamps, giving you that premium look. And typically what we see this is in a high premium a residential situation. We do have ground mounts as well, single post on the far left or dual post in the middle, which is our part of our Solar Terrace series. And then we also have a Solar Terrace 5, which is a little bit more robust, and that is an engineered product. If you're looking at tracker systems, whether you're looking at a singular panel, then portrait, or two panels and portrait, or if you're looking for systems that two panels and portrait, but also that additional algorithms that not only look at tracking the sun, but also continuously in real time checking weather conditions to preempt any kind of bad weather scenarios and to protect the system at all times. And when it comes to ground structures, for example, we've got a list of carports there. And that's on the left, and the one in the middle. On the far left is our Easy Shade 2.0. That one comes in a single or a double bay. It comes in silver or in black. And depending on the panels that you're looking at, we can design them bespoke to your installation. And obviously, these kind of carports can be scaled up. And what we're actually seeing from a commercial space, that we're seeing, let's say, shopping centers getting 200 bays, large office buildings getting 100 bays and things like this. And typically what we see is most installations actually have the inverters fixed onto the side beams, as well as also now looking at the actual the car chargers as well being affixed to those side beams as well. So it's a bit of versatility there for you. What we have there in the center is our Easy Shade Razor, and this product is an engineered product With Easy Shade 2.0, that's pretty much off the shelf. In terms of the specifications are fairly easy for us to put together and ship that across to you. Whereas the Easy Shade razor, this is a singular post on one end, so it makes it a lot easier getting in and out of the vehicle. However, this is a engineered product, and so this is a little bit more deep dive conversation on the specifics of that site. And definitely a very, very good looking product. And then on the far right, we've also got post mounts ranging from 1 to up to about 8 to 10 panels, whether you're looking at the regular size panels or the new larger half cut cell panels. And we typically see this kind of installations more in farming for like water irrigation pumps and such. Give you an example here of a tracker system. So this site is in Xinjiang, China. It was the installation started in September 2020, and they finished it in December of 2020. So not even about 4 months. And that was in total. The site was about 700 megawatts with 293 on tracker. The rest was fixed tilt. And you can see with this system here that it's not only dual panel, but it's also got the tilt to one side as well as an option, which was part of the design for this particular installation. In terms of global installations, as a brand, we are across the world with our team, our projects team based out of Germany. We've just done this 63 megawatt project there. Installations across the United States. And when it comes to Australia, whether we're looking at some of the most iconic places like airports or our Parliament House or most of the high-rise buildings across our country, almost all of them have Clenergy gear. I mean, almost every second installation across Australia has Clenergy PV Zerac products across it. But especially because in terms of engineering standards, we are always looking at what the new building codes are and making sure that everything's up to spec. In terms of jumping over to our runner cable management solutions, now most of you probably know cable trays. It's a fairly standard product these days in most buildings. Just the key differences here. Number one, we have a matte finish, which is a magnesium zinc alloy. And what that is it's an extra solution and it's an extra coating that goes onto the cable trays as opposed to the usual hot dip galvanized solution. And what it does is during install, whether it's swath or little cuts and scrapes here and there, it's a self-healing solution that basically looks after itself for the longevity of your system. And in addition, as our roots is in the solar world, we've designed not just plain covers, we also have covers that have the words solar DC warning embossed onto the metal, because typically most just from a compliance perspective, typically you put labels on there or you put maybe spray paint saying warning solar DC. We have eliminated this situation where you just need you don't need to do anything, just leave your spray can in the van, and because everything's already pre-embossed on there. If you're looking at a skinnier channel, we do also have an empty cable tray as well. And of course, it comes with this range of accessories. And just to give an example of what all of this all together might look like, this is just an example of one of our last trade shows where we actually show you where the risers, the T junction, the T cross basically have all the elements there. And it comes in the two sizes of 150 millimeters and 300 millimeters. As a company, it is very important for us to give back. And so for the last 12 years, we've been partnering with the It's Time Foundation. And what they do is that they provide ground mount solar system with batteries across the Pacific Islands for remote schools, giving them 24/7 power. And this year marks our 25th school that we've provided a system there for. In addition to that, we as a company are also transitioning to a new product line within energy storage. And so with that, we are also championing the whole electrification of transportation. And with that, with Monash University based here in Melbourne, we've been sponsoring their F1 EV department, a part of the engineering department. So that's another exciting thing, part of it we're giving back to. In terms of our online presence, we've got a range of content on our websites. That's going to clenergy.com and then clicking on our video gallery, you'll get their panel discussion podcasts with some of the most important stakeholders in the Australian and also global solar industry. So I invite you all to have a look at all of that. And in terms of our difference, and that's with our partnerships with our distributors or large-scale installation companies, EPC companies, we take education and training very seriously. We take working with the latest building codes very seriously as well, and then constantly training installers and collaborators to on the latest what's happening. We're also looking and always collaborating with panel manufacturers, module level inverter companies as well, as these are products that interact with some of our core gear, and always looking at how we can partner and move our industry forward. In terms of if you are looking for our products there in the GCC region, all you got to do is go to our website, click on the distributors link, and through the filters, click on Middle East, and you'll get our client, our distributor there, Power and Sun. So most of their details are all there. And if you are looking for, and if for products in other countries, the whole country list is available to you there on this particular page. Also, additionally, we have our regular newsletter that goes out with all our latest updates. So invite you to go to our clenergy.com website and subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest on civil engineering and structural engineering when it comes to the solar industry. And lastly, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sales@clenergy.com or stay in touch with across all of our social channels. If you are an engineer or someone who really wants to ask a technical question and you want to get an answer pretty quickly, I'd invite you to go to our Facebook learning group, which is Clenergy Club. And we've curated almost, I'd say close to over 600 installers across the world, where if you just upload a photograph of a roof or have a question about a particular clamp or any kind of thing that's from a technical perspective, post it, and we reckon you'll probably get an answer within a couple of minutes, as people are all across the world in different time zones. So that's something to look at. And that's it for my time. Thank you again very much, Solar Quarter. Do submit your questions in the Q&A box. And without further ado, I'll pass the time back to Mr. Samir for the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for the insightful presentation. Here, I would like to make a small announcement. Attendees can post their questions in the Q&A box, and our panelists will answer those questions at the end of the panel discussion. Allow me to introduce the proficient panel lineup for today. Mr. Samir Zabaide, who is a carbon markets national expert, Mr. Samir Jacob from Clenergy, Mr. Prabhraj Harakangi from CleanMax, Ms. Babbitt from Alec Energy. The session will be led by Mr. Samir Zabaide. Now I welcome all our panelists on the screen and hand it over to Mr. Zabaide. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sakshi. It was a wonderful presentation by Mr. Samir, and big thanks also to Clean Energy, our platinum partner, and huge thanks to all the coordinators behind the scene at Solar Quarter. Today, We will start with Mr. Samir, our golden partner, our platinum partner. Sorry about that. Samir is a energetic guy. I've known him for a while now. He has been in the renewable industry for the past 12 years, and he's primarily focused on on manufacturers and their brand strategy, communication, and social media. Uh, he worked with PV module manufacturers, inverter manufacturers, battery manufacturers, and now he is working in the mounting structure systems. And he marketed all of these products. He has worked and traveled across Asia, Europe, South America, and the Middle East. And we hope to see him more in the Middle East and the GCC. He has an MBA from the University of Western Australia. Samir, welcome back, and it's always a pleasure to have you as a panelist and to hear what you have to say. We would like to start with asking you about the types of substructure used for rooftop systems and what are your recommendations? Over to you, Samir.
Thank you, Mr. Samir, for having me. From my presentation, you would have noticed that within the commercial rooftop scene, typically the first go-to is if it's for a metal or tin roof, we're talking about penetrative or non-penetrative solutions. If you're looking at concrete roofs, it's possibly ballast systems, and these are, I guess, the typical go-tos. Now, I guess one of the things I wanted to mention that is, apart from the right solution from us, part of the structural engineering to look at is, first, number one, how old is this building? Because sometimes the roof itself was never designed to hold that much weight of aluminium and solar panels, and so it's very important to get the right structural engineering data and understand what's actually underneath that roof and the purlins and the battens. What is the actual weight that it can take? And then that'll actually dictate which avenue you go down, because a lot of customers come to us and they say, "Yep, I want to get a non-penetrative solution, maybe like a ballast system, because I don't want to penetrate because this might give us leaks, and then I have other problems." And once we go down this line, everything's all good, and then we say, yes, you understand that you have to also now have not double, but the equivalent amount of weight in terms of concrete blocks to hold the system down. And then when we have this conversation, that's when then it goes back the other way. When it comes to, I guess, the roof mount solutions, that's pretty much, I guess, most of the options there. Penetrative, non-penetrative, using the right kind of clip lock clamps, and ballast systems.
Yes, I
hope
agree
that
with
answers your
you.
question.
Yes. Brilliant questions, brilliant answers, of course. Thank you very much. Actually, for the commercial and industrial applications, they have metal buildings, and they are old metal buildings, will have all of these problems. Uh, uh, and I think having a structural engineer in house is very important. Does Let me ask you these questions later on after we finish our let's say primary questions. The second question, Samin, is about how are you ensuring the quality of the structures? The quality meaning um, the certification also includes in this question, and uh, the design, is it verified, and so on. Over to you, Samir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. So, in terms of first, in terms of certifications, all the usual suspects are already sorted in things like UL, TUV. This is pretty standard across most manufacturers. We get all of that certified. But one thing is that when you look at panels, inverters, batteries, anything grid connected, all of these are electrical products living within electrical engineering world. Whereas when it comes to mounting structures, we are in the civil engineering, structural engineering world. And so what we have to keep a very close eye on is what is the building codes of the said country, and then working with the installation company or the project development team. Obviously, we have a range of different types of rails that you could purchase from us. I think there's about 9 different types of profiles, and they range in terms of different types of metal, so aluminium or is it steel, does it have a coating, does it not have a coating, for example, like a zinc aluminium extra sheet. So and obviously this also relates to price. So depending on what they're after in a particular area, that's what we would recommend. That's I guess the second layer. And with the building codes, the one of the primary things that we look at is what is the terrain category. And what I mean by that is your particular site geographically, what is around you, what are the structures around you that break the wind, or is there nothing there that basically that roof is going to be copying and getting the full force of that wind load. That's one. And then second is what is the actual wind region, how intense is it. So taking those parameters into play, that will tell us what we best recommend in terms of depending on the choice of rail. Do we then say maybe you need 3 rails that have to go on? Do you need to increase maybe additional spacing, or do you need more clamps to hold the structure together underneath those panels? And of course, we're working with the panel manufacturer as well, because they obviously have their own guidelines. So it's a collaborative effort. And I think lastly is with Clenergy, we also have another service stream, which is Clenergy Engineering. And they provide a service. Basically, everything I just said, you could actually go and find so many different engineering companies that can give you your certifications for that said project site to get you your site approved. But we actually have our own in-house team as well, who obviously are champions of our product. They understand building codes, they understand wind regions, and then they basically design the whole system there for you, give you your bill of materials, and then off you go to our distributor with your little shopping list, and there you get your system.
Thank you very much, Samir. My second question now is going to be about the how is the stability of the structure ensured in areas with high wind speeds? And I just want to follow up because we have climate change, and one of these climate change impacts is the let's say the increase in the hurricane, especially in the U.S. and in Jordan, let's say, or the Gulf. We are seeing intense rain activities, severe weather storms. So we do have, let's say, impact on of climate change throughout the world, and really, because of these systems, they're going to stay for 30 years. Right now, the panel manufacturers are guaranteeing or are providing the high quality panels with degradation up to 30 years at 87%. So, and it will be much better in the future. So your structures should be withstand 30 years. And I understand that you will abide by the codes, but the codes might not be enough in the future. So any ideas on or best practices you can provide our audience? Over to you, Samir.
Great question. No, thank you for that. So what we are seeing, so one of the most progressive countries, especially when you're talking about climate change and how that is affecting building codes at the moment, one of the most progressive countries that we have seen is Australia, because they are pretty much similar to some of the countries you just mentioned, where they have seen bushfires, hurricanes, intense flooding. It's happening even right now. in some parts of the country. So, and with that, about couple of months ago, they introduced new building standards, which makes actually increased safety conditions for especially commercial rooftop installations. And that is going to be implemented, I believe, March next year. So right now it's the transition period. Where it's all about educating all the various installers around the country on these new standards and what they need to do. And what it basically means is that there's a certain formula. When you look at what is the terrain conditions, what is the terrain category, what is the wind region, that was the typical numbers that was in the formula. But now they've actually added a new element, which is what they call as the climate change multiplier. Now, without getting into the maths, which I'm not going to say that I understand all of it, but what I'm saying is that they've added basically one more parameter to the formula, which is going to make it definitely a lot safer. But what does that mean for the developer or the installation company? So let's just say hypothetically you have quite a large roof, and you're putting, let's say, I don't know, 500 kilowatts or let's say a megawatt on there, and typically there was a certain number, there was a certain exclusion zone that you had to adhere to. That is basically, the exclusion zones are the point of the last panel before the ridge line or the gutter line of that roof. So what was there before, as opposed to what is on the new rules, it's going to be making the system go back further into the roof, making possibly the system slightly smaller than what you might have quoted previously. And this is to do with the wind load that is on the edges of the system. So basically to further protect the system. So the last thing someone wants is the roof flying off a roof, right? A solar panel flying off a roof. But I'll tell you, in the last 15 years, we have not had that situation ever. The only time we have actually had that situation is the entire roof has been taken off. And if you have that situation, you have much bigger problems, not really the solar panel system. But what we look at is all of that. And then in addition to this is when you're looking at metal roofs, and especially if it is a non-penetrative roof, when you have the battens and the purlins, between the battens and the purlins, there are these small, in most situations, there are these small clips that are holding the actual metal roof to that purlin. So most often, this is one element that the actual technical or the engineers on site need to be looking at, how durable these clips are, because even though the solar on the roof and the clamps are holding onto the actual profile of the roof, that's not a problem. It's sometimes it's those clips that are underneath that break away, which is it's to do with the actual roofing profile itself. So we actually have a couple of videos on how you can actually effectively do your own testing, which is most installers can go to any kind of handyman store and you can buy a couple of parts. We've actually got a couple of videos there where you can just do it basically DIY, do it yourself, and you can test the roof and then test it with different clamps, and then do the what fits for that particular site. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, very good answer. I think the audience will be interested in learning more if they have these situations, and I do highly recommend contacting you in the future and your company for severe weather conditions and areas that have severe weather conditions. Thank you very much, Samir, and I'm sure that we will get back to you with more questions during the audience questions session. Thank you.
Always
Samir.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Our next speaker is our Mr. Prab Huraj. And are you with us, Mr. Prab Huraj?
Yes, Mr. Samir.
I hope that I am
Yes.
pronouncing it correctly.
Yes.
Apologize.
Fine. That's fine. You can call me Prabhu. That is also
Prabhu.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Prabhu is highly certified. He is a solar PV professional and PMI certified in, of course, in project management. And he has an academic background in power generation and energy systems. From DIWA, he has Shams DIWA certified senior PV expert and Dubai Municipality Solar certified. Also, he is certified by NEBOSH, and he has an international general certificate holder and of occupational health and safety. So he's a highly certified professional and working in the energy sector, and we are very happy that you are with us to answer a few questions. Our first question, Prabhu, is can we expect DIWA to be a single point, including structural approval, since DIWA has plan of single data source for a
Yeah.
plot?
Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Samir. Coming to that point, actually, DIVA last year, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, they had stopped giving approvals for some time. Then they had called for a feedback meeting. When we actually attended that meeting, DIVA has a plan that they told that NOC, in their plan, regular processes, first they will release an NOC, then there is an approval. So NOC is necessary for all the structural approvals like authority, Tarakis and Dubai Municipality, Dubai Development Authority, and that for those purposes. And since the NOC process was removed, directly they are giving design approval. So we asked, so we will have a problem because now it cannot be a parallel operation, because first we have to take a DIVA approval, which is like a month of process, and then you have to go for a structural approval. The thing is that DIVA suggested, actually, uh, the whole Dubai is there. They're planning to just accommodate as a single platform. Internally, they will be different authorities, but when you go for a specific plot number, the complete database will be merged and it will be accessible for all the authorities. So when I apply for solar application, definitely that plot number will be notified to the Dubai municipality or the Dubai Development Authority or Turkeys, whichever authority is there. That will be again, they will also get notified, and it will become a single window kind of services. So that is the future what Diva is looking at it, and hope it will come soon, so that the lot of pain what we are going through for the approvals in 2 to 3 authorities, that it can be later, it can be avoided. And we are in continuously, whenever we speak and we participate in the Diva meeting, we insist on that when it will be coming, and they are promising that will hope it, they're hoping it soon it will be live, and we will be able to just file an application and a follow up internally with the different authorities, and there will be no multiple separate applications are not required. Probably DCD and civil defense and structural, all the approvals will be taken in one go, and that is what, even once the Dubai starts, then I hope the other GCC countries also, they will they will surely make single window services for the solar, so that we can get the approvals faster, and get the projects done smooth.
So do you think that the structural engineers will be hired by DIWA? They will be DIWA employees, or DIWA will have a subcontractor design firm for the structural approvals?
No, Diva will not handle the structural part, but when we apply for the solar, we will give the structural documents, everything. It will be uploaded in a single platform, and it will be routed to the concerned authorities. Like if there is a plot number which I have mentioned for that, if it is under Dubai municipality, directly it will be routed to Dubai municipality, and the consultant will get the notification that your application, which was processed to Diva, it has come to us. So we will get all the approvals in a single place. So now
I see.
basically we are, yes, we are sending it first. We are taking the Diva approval, and once we get the approval, then we are taking the structural documents and attaching the Diva approval and submitting it to the structural approval. So that process will be avoided.
Yeah, it makes sense that you get like approval on the electrical
Yes,
system, so you can
yes,
determine the size, and
yes,
then you can do the civil to
yes,
accommodate the size, of course.
yes.
But from your experience, Prabhu, does the structural approval should be from a consultant instead of authority, as in Bahrain?
Yes, because recently we are doing some projects in Bahrain, and what we observed is that in Bahrain, consultant who is authorized by the municipality, he is capable of giving. He has an authority to give the approval for the solar structures directly with his analysis. So that one is a much easier process, because when we go to authority, even though for authority also we have to go through the consultant only. It's just about consultant will be stamping that drawings, and authority will stamp that drawings. That is the only extra thing what we get, because most of the time consultant will discuss with the municipality or the structural authority, whichever is there, and they will follow the guidelines whatever mentioned. So the consultant is, since they are also approved and authorized, so they never cross the limitations, or never make a design, or they will if there is anything, they will comment directly if roof is failing or there is the strength problem. They will definitely they will initially only they will give the comments, and they will get it done from a contractor. So the same process again, it will go it will happen with the authority also, which is really we are feeling that it is not necessary. And Bahrain, I felt that it is much smoother, because consultant is also quite stringent. They will check with all the norms of authority, but it will save a lot of time, because basically when we come to the structural part for a solar, if a warehouse of like 50 60,000 square feet, and a solar of say only a small part of the roof, which is not really a big structural difference, and almost all the warehouses where the rooftop is installed, they will definitely, because it's not a dead static load, which is that the pointed load of 18 90 kgs. It's a distributed load, and the per square meters at 14 to 15 kgs, any roof almost, the roofs which are designed, they will take. So in that way, it should happen in other GCC countries also, so that the projects will go smoother. That is what the expectation, and we're hoping other countries also will implement these things.
Very nice, very nice. I have one final question
Yes,
regarding the AC/DC ratio for
yes,
inverters.
yes.
Is there any chance the DY is increasing the
Yeah.
DC/AC ratio?
So yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Samir, for this question. We are regularly in contact with Diva. We are requesting continuously, because their issue is that uh, extra loading, since there is a high radiation here, so it will reach optimum values even with 15 20% of extra loading, and inverters start chopping the generation. But from our side, we have made a justification that even though there is a chopping in the inverters, sometimes we have to take that decision, because we might increase the area of the bell curve by in the horizontal way. That is also a possible way that has been conveyed. Luckily, we don't have these conditions in other GCCs, GCC countries, where there is like 35 40% of extra loading allowed. Sometimes the roof will be facing to north, and we might have a azimuth, a very different azimuth, and some shadow, and where there is putting a 20%, just a 20% extra loading on the inverter is not really makes sense, because it is definitely we are underutilizing the inverters. So compared, especially in other, especially in Dubai, in UAE, except Dubai, we are finding Ras Al Khaimah and other places, some inquiries and some government projects. There they are allowing maximum extra loading, and even the Bahrain KSA, we are finding it much better. So we are hoping that Dubai Diva also will listen to us, and we are making continuous requests in all the meetings, which whenever they call for us, and we
Thank
hope that will happen soon. Also, they will
thank
understand.
you. Thank you very much, Prabhu, and I'm sure that we will get back to you with a
Yes,
few more questions
Sure.
during the dedicated session with our attendees. Our next, our next speaker is
Thank you,
Miss
Samir.
Babette. Thank you. Miss Babette, are you with us?
Mr. Shamer, I am here.
Yes, perfect. Miss Babbitt is the commercial manager at ALEC. She oversees the business development efforts of ALEC Energy, AES, and LinkU Modular. Working closely with the in house teams, Babbitt is involved in all aspects of the business, from tendering, execution, marketing, and strategies campaigns. In her 8 years spent in the construction industry in the GCC, she has been involved in delivering major iconic developments like Bivalgari, Blue Waters, and One Zabil. It is her appreciation for this earth and keeping it healthy that initially led her to Alec Energy, where she is trailblazing the challenging new world of off-grid, microgrid, building integrated PV and BAPV. It is her dream to see every new building adorned with photovoltaics, harvesting the sun endless power for a greener tomorrow. Wow, fantastic introduction. Babbitt, we need more people like you. You are a role
Well,
model. Definitely, the passion for solar, for clean energy, is needed throughout the world and especially the GCC countries. May we ask you about the building envelope? How can the building envelope contribute to helping uh, a home building to achieve a net zero target? Over to you, Babbitt.
So, Mr. Samer, as you know, the UAE has set some very stringent targets for energy saving. By 2050, they want to produce 50% of our energy from renewable and nuclear sources. We want to increase the consumption efficiency of our buildings and industry by 40%. And the government is also investing billions of dirhams in energy demand and secure, sustainable solutions. That all is towards the goal to reduce the carbon footprint by 70%. Now, an interesting statistic for the world is 38% of the world's energy is contributed by buildings, where in the UAE it's 80%. Now, if you had gone 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and replaced all the glass with solar glass, I would say that that number would have been quite a bit smaller. We are restricted here with rooftop space. As you know, a lot of towers are in the area, as well as in Abu Dhabi and in KSA as well. So where the opportunity arises to put solar on the facade, I think we have to grasp at that. And that is where we are focusing our efforts at the moment. In Alec Energy, we have partnered with AES to provide a turnkey solution in-house where we design the full system, including feasibility studies and all of the calculations that's necessary to tell a client or a developer what would be savings over 25 years, what would be his capex, what would be his investment and his ROI. So all of these things are now in reach. We are doing them, we are pricing them, we are delivering them. We are the contractor, the solar contractor for DEWA headquarters here in Dubai, in Al Jadaf. That would be the world's tallest, largest net zero building, government building. That is achieved by complete BIPV integration into the facade of the building, the roof of the building, glass modules, custom made for the project. But that was just the start. We are now looking at companies all over Europe, especially in Europe, that have invested a lot of time and research and money in developing aesthetically pleasing facade solutions. And that is where we see the future going. Rooftops are still 100% yes, the quickest and most cost effective and efficient and higher power generation solution. And we, as far as I'm concerned, every single house, every building should have solar panels on the roof for the sake of you're getting free power from the sun. It's a no-brainer in my opinion.
Brilliant answers. I think you will open up a company for building integrated PV soon in the UAE, and then start building towers using PI PV. Definitely, this is something that we have to watch out for, and I'm sure that you will be a leader in this area. Regarding sustainable construction and technologies, what are the new sustainable construction technologies that are available for the GCC developers and owners to look out for and implement, of course? Over to you.
Um, it is widely known that construction waste contributes a lot to overall world waste. That is not, you can't recycle it, it's unrecyclable, it's non recyclables. So, taking that into mind, Link Modular is a business that's been set up for modular construction. Now, this isn't modular construction like pods where you've got bathrooms or kitchens or something that you assemble offsite and then you just install them. These are off-site built houses, hotels, hospitals, anything that you can think of. That when by the time it gets to site, you simply install them. You simply take an entire hotel room and one crane, boom, in place, and you've got someone with a few glands and MEP connections to connect the different modules together. Now, adopting that strategy for the construction, you are reducing construction waste immensely, up to 90%, because you can reuse and custom size all of your materials. The environment in which these modules are built are factory environments, so you've got it clean, you've got it energy efficient. You are working on copy paste templates, so you reduce the chance of issues with quality. Your dimensions are absolutely perfect, so you're not struggling with time wasted with, ooh, the wall is kicked out a little bit here, what are we going to do with the facade? Oh, the roof isn't ready, I can't install the solar yet. So you saving time, you're saving money. Time is money, and where we can save time, we're trying to save money. And this also benefits the client. You want the client to move in quicker, you want the client to have his site as clean and as clear and quickly accessible as possible. So you're saving on energy while you're building as well. If you don't have to cart in every single finish from every subcontractor on site, if you don't have to cart in every material, ship it from different parts of the world, if you've got that all in a streamlined process in a factory, you're basically running another Coca-Cola factory. So that is one construction method that we've set it up, and we are currently working on projects for that, especially in the GCC. That is a big ask at the moment, and it's a big benefit. Also, with the supply chain not being able to keep up with the demand of construction in the area, especially in KSA, we're seeing this as a massive plus. Now, to then go and integrate into something that is already more energy efficient, you go and integrate rooftop solar, you go and integrate facade solar, and energy efficient equipment. You're looking at easily producing what was a few months ago almost unthinkable. You can now go and produce a net zero or a net positive building, house, villa. You will have private owners looking at solar facades. It's happening already. You've got companies that are producing panels that mimic how marble looks. It is a solution that already exists, and we are implementing, and we are seeing it work. And we are very grateful for the governments that are embracing these new technologies, that are putting mandates in place. For example, construction sites to go off grid, to have solar on construction sites. There's nothing stopping anyone. And there are already companies providing these solutions, but it's still too limited, and there's still not enough education and information available in the market on these solutions. They are available, and we are providing them, and we are installing them. And as far as possible, we should be doing everything we can to reduce energy consumption for the sheer reason of reducing carbon emissions. Carbon is an asphyxiant. Too much carbon, too much dust in the air, too much pollution. It just ends up with you having respiratory issues, lung issues. 90% or 95% of owners who have changed their house to solar clean energy have said that they feel positively impacted and benefited by clean air in their own, just in their own yard. So you can imagine if you're working for a company who has invested in your health, in valuing you as a person, um, installing solar, creating less carbon, that puts a positive spin on something as simple as going to the office every day.
Definitely a brilliant answer, and I think you need to be head of an international activist group in the sustainable construction area. Definitely, you will you need to have more voice and more decision making abilities in the construction sector. Thank you very much, and
Thank you
I'm
very
sure
much.
that we get more answers, more questions to you in the next segment.
Anytime.
Um, Thank you. Sakshi, are you with us? Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes, sir. Just a second.
Wonderful.
Yes,
While we are
thank
waiting,
you
yeah,
all our esteemed panelists for this wonderful session, and a very special thanks to Mr. Zawade for superbly managing this session. We'll now be screening some questions from the audience for the panel.
I'm sorry, I don't think we have any questions as such today. I think people have indulged in a lot of networking today. So
no
I
problem.
think we'll
Can
be
I ask
just,
a couple of questions?
yeah, sure, please go ahead,
I,
sir.
I like, yeah, yeah. I will use the time and ask a couple of questions. My question is for Babette. What do you mean by BAPV? What is BAPV, please?
So recently, the addition of solar not only as rooftop or car park or ground mount, which I have started referring to as conventional solar, um, that is not the only solutions. There are also building attached photovoltaics. So any energy that you yield from a solar cell is called PV, photovoltaics. So if you take photovoltaics and you attach it to your building as a cladding, that would be a building attached PV, BAPV. Where you have that solar as an integrated material on your building. So, for example, you're replacing your see through glass or your spandrel or your roof tile with a PV, photovoltaic again, that is building integrated for photovoltaics. Then another one that's just recently surfaced is Solar Earth's PIPV, which is pavement integrated photovoltaics. Now, I do apologize for all the Arabic speaking gentlemen and ladies. I know that PNB is a little bit confusing and it is quite confusing, but it's a pavement integrated, building attached, and building integrated photovoltaics.
Thank you very much, and very clear. We do have a few projects in Jordan with building integrated and building attached PV, but of course the economics plays a role, and these were pilot projects by research and other zealous owners, building owners.
And
Thank
Mr.
you very
Samir,
much. Yeah,
are
yeah.
those plants, are those buildings performing as you predicted them? Because I mean, you do a PV system in the beginning, so are you yielding what you thought you would?
We are using them more of a research as a awareness and you know you are limited. When you are designing these things, you have space, and you want to fill it with the building integrator or building attached. So you're not focusing on much on the generation and the specific production, more of utilizing. So we are happy with any amount of energy that it is producing. And for me, really, when we use renewable energy, it's long term. So if the payback period is extended by a few years, it's nothing. Because it will stay for a long time, and the direct impact and indirect impact of using this building integrated and building attached is really very, very high. So when you have the photovoltaic in front of the people throughout the day, they will tend to become more familiar with it, and it's part of their lives. So when the question is raised about installing system at their homes or at their facilities, they, they will accept it. So yes, we need more more installations with BIPV and BAPV. So I'm with you 100%. I have one more question to Prabhu. Prabhu, are you with us?
Yes, yes, Mr. Samir.
We have a question regarding the hybrid systems. Uh, can we expect guidelines from authorities on the hybrid diesel generation and battery systems also? And what are the expected basic guidelines? Over to you, Babu.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Samir. Basically, the hybrid end with the diesel generators and the battery, making the mini grid or that kind of things. At present, if it is completely off the grid, there is no grid, then we don't have a guidelines, especially in GCC. So a lot of projects have been done, but this will not be the same because even though there is a diesel generator and DG and the battery, but still there's a grid requirement is there, which will make the system much better or optimized to save more cost. So we have from the authority discussion, we have recently the news that they are coming up with for that also guidelines, but it might be the Dubai might start the first, so then we are expecting other countries to do. But I hope that it will be not as stringent as the regular rooftop projects, because their the facility if we are not using the grid, especially because now we are not taking the civil defense or the structural any approval, we are not taking, because it's completely independent of the independent of
Great.
authority. So at least we are expecting they might introduce the structural and other feasibility reports. They at least a structural like municipality or that we have to take. Then might not be Diva, but the structural approval definitely they might introduce. That is what the news what we have got. But this is in a very basic stage. They are just taking the opinions from the different people. Since even the range of the batteries and the safety guidelines to maintain the batteries and the system voltage for the battery, that is also in a very early stage, because some countries they use the battery system at a very high volts like 120 120 volts and DC, which is not really recommended, and they might limit the battery voltage at 48 and make it as a strict guidelines. That is what we have been discussed with the authority. So hope
Looking
we'll
forward
get a
to it.
clear. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu, very
Mr.
much.
Samir. Thank you.
And big thanks to all our esteemed panelists for sharing their experiences and lessons learned with others, and enriching the solar PV sector. Thank you very much for the platinum partner, Clean Energy, and big thanks, of course, to all our coordinators with the solar quarter behind the scene heroes. Over to you, Sakshi.
Thank you, audience and panelists. And so, with this, we have come to an end of this virtual conference. Thank you, everyone, for extending your time and support for this event. A special thank to our partners, Clenergy, for extending their immense support to organize this event. We promise you to come back with another exciting session. The floor is now open for networking. Thanks once again.
Many thanks to our moderator, Mr. Samir, also. Great day, everyone.